Just when America has reached a breaking point with division, visionary influencer Danni Benson's I'm Proud of You Sis bro movement taps into the pulse and heartbeat of a culture radically torn. But this loving mom's voice of reason and calm has received national recognition.
How do you balance having your children and always traveling with the Yankee organization?
When I became a dad, I said that I would always love like a mother.
I feel like I have to try certain things or act a different way because I know some people or some kids.
So join Danni Benson as she celebrates her special guests on her show and highlights their gifts and contributions to our world.
Hi, everyone. Hi, I am host Danni Benson on I'm Proud of You Sis. Thank you for joining me. Please tell your family, friends about this show. Please like, share, and follow, comments. I'm on Optimum every Saturday, channel 20 at 9 a.m. I am so happy that you guys are here joining me. Today, we are going to talk about homeschooling, which is like the new trend in America after COVID, after parents were able to sit at home and try to educate their kids while the schools were shut down. A lot of parents had their kids remain staying home because they liked the education that they were giving their kids at home. Not to say the schools are less than educations at home, but more parents want to have more control over their children's education. So I have Miss Gayna here, who's going to give us homeschooling 101 for parents out there who are interested in going on the path of homeschooling. So let's say hi to Miss Gayna, and I'm proud of you, sis. Hi, Miss Gayna. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh my God. Look, you are like the expert in so many different things. I mean, I give you your flowers because knowledge is everything. Like picking up a book and learning something. Like basically school doesn't stop when you stop paying for it. Like college, going to school and whatever, going for a trade. Your learning is continuous until you actually like die. Because your brain needs to be fueled with information in order for it to grow. So I love the fact that you're in and out of all these different areas because it's letting me know that you welcome the knowledge and information to grow, and knowledge is your power. So I just want to say thank you, Miss Gayna, for joining. I'm proud of you, sis. I'm giving you flowers because I'm just like, yes, like you that chick, girl. You're that chick. That's all I gotta say about that. You're that chick. So let's talk about homeschooling. No, you're welcome. Let's just talk about homeschooling because I know parents want more control over with their children, especially during COVID. A lot of parents got to see what the kids were learning in school. And there's some areas in this country that the school might not be stellar, that the parents want to decide to maybe teach their kids at school. And we were talking about this. Sometimes it takes a village, to do homeschooling. So let's dive into homeschooling in America. How are you today?
Okay, great. And excited to express this information I have about homeschooling because it's much easier than people think. And it's very beneficial for kids these days. Homeschooling opportunities and online schools offer so much opportunity. There's so many elective courses that kids can tap into at a young age. One of the organizations I would recommend first for people who are just starting to learn about homeschool and what it offers is an organization called HSDLA. Okay, so that stands for Homeschooling Legal Defense Association. And that organization will give you a lot of information. They will help you. They will guide you. They do charge a membership fee, but for someone just starting out and just not knowing where to go and have a whole host of questions, this is a good landing place. I believe the membership could be $100 or maybe a little over $100 annually. So it is pretty affordable, and they're 24-hour operations, so you can tap in and ask any questions about curriculum, or if there's any issues with teachers, with the school, because there is a process with if you're starting homeschooling and your child is already enrolled in school. You have to de-enroll your child, and then you have to apply to Department of Education, or wherever you live, you need to register your child as a homeschool student. And the laws are different for every state. So, you might have a lot of questions on how to go about this process and what would be required once they are registered as a homeschool student. So that organization will give you a landing place to kind of find out some details about what would be the requirements when you started homeschooling. So homeschooling now I think that it is probably the way of the future, if you ask me, because there is a huge trend of people moving in that direction. Millions have, started homeschooling, and everyone that I've asked, they really have enjoyed it, and their kids seem to love it. Some kids, however, though, as they are older, seems like as they get more older and they have, kind of develop relationships in school and friendships in school, and they're a little bit more used to people giving them a step-by-step way of how to do things. They have a little trouble with homeschooling. I will admit that, as kids do get older, and we're talking about in the high school ages, because when you're starting out as a homeschool, you're training your child to be more independent thinker, a more of a critical thinker, more independent, kind of take charge. And what courses are you interested in? Okay, we'll take this course next year. We'll take engineering, we'll take plumbing, we'll take ecology, we'll take agriculture. And they have a little bit more of empowerment to be involved in their education versus, maybe as they get older, it's like, well, I don't know what to do, or I'm waiting for the teacher to tell me what I need to do. And, this is a bit of an adjustment for me. So I've heard of struggles in that way. But if they're able to get past those struggles, it is such a eye-opening, wonderful experience to homeschool. And there's so many ways to homeschool. You don't have to always be the one who say, oh my God, I can't homeschool because, my kid is so distracted. They can't sit still. I tried this during the pandemic and, it was just the worst. Because there's so many ways to homeschool. One way to homeschool is, you can develop your own curriculum if you're able to do that and teach your child independently and look at workbooks and take them out on field trips. You can do that. That's one way. Another way is you can enroll them in an online school. Most online schools in certain states are not, they're not, basically they don't see these online schools as the same as they would see a traditional school. So basically the online schools would fall under homeschooling category, even though it's a real school with the same curriculum that your child may be taking in a traditional school in a brick and mortar building. So you have online schools, so they can log on every day and log into their classes and take classes that way and take tests and quizzes and so forth. Then you have the options with the online schools to determine if you want live classes, which is what a lot of people experienced during the pandemic, or if you want self-paced classes. What I found out is some of the kids who have more distractions don't do well in live classes because it's similar to a school environment where you have 30 or 15 kids in a class. You're waiting for one kid to answer a question. The teacher's attention is with that one kid. The kid is trying to figure out what do they do now, or they're distracted by another kid that's doing something else. It's similar to that experience with live classes because there's a lot of things going on that the kid is trying to process while doing their work. So if your kid if you notice your kid is going to be kind of distracted, is not going to be able to work that well in that environment, then you would look at more of a self-paced environment. Self-paced homeschool is the same thing. It's an online environment, but the lessons are all pre-recorded and they go at the speed of the child. So if the child knows 2 + 2 is 4 and they're ready to move on to the next problem, they're ready to start counting pennies, they're ready to start telling time. It doesn't take them that long to get through a lesson. So it goes really fast. That's why you would
are you teaching, or for instance, are you or me or the mom who chooses to do homeschooling? Am I the teacher, or they look at a video and that's teaching them?
Exactly. You are the learning coach. I guess you can call it, that you're not the teacher. These teachers.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought that I had to be the teacher. Like if I had my kids homeschool, I thought I was the teacher and I have to learn through the stuff that they send me how to actually teach my kids. But you're saying that they're at home and they still have like something that they're watching.
Exactly.
Oh, it's like online classes. So it's like online classes in college or when you're learning a skill.
Correct.
Oh, but instead of going to school, the kid can do it at home.
That's it. And that's what makes it so much. And the kids really love it and enjoy it because it's at their own space. So if they struggle in a certain area, it'll be targeted just to the area that they're struggling in. They may not be struggling in science or social studies or even ELA. They may just be struggling in math. So it'll target the areas. They'll look at how quickly they answered the questions. All of the algorithms are set, which questions they get wrong, which questions they get correct. And then they will determine if there's any recovery lessons needed, if they need to go back and repeat certain lessons. And it's immediate. It's not a month or 2 months later after an exam is given and you determine that they're struggling in math. So these things are immediate because all the algorithms are set up as they learn, as through self-paced, because they're given memory drills, they're given quizzes, they're given tests, they're given all of this stuff throughout their day in each subject that they log on to. So if you find that your child works best in a self-paced environment, then they can log on and get the pre-recorded lessons. The teacher pops on. They have to engage because they're going to be constantly prompted to ask what they learn, to comprehend what they learn, to, type of essays or upload essays. It's immediately graded. So you can know what level of reading your child is on. Sometimes the teachers can pop up and, and say, okay, well, just checking in to see how you were doing. Do you have any questions? If a teacher can request that the teacher's requesting a live chat with you. Sometimes if you need help, you can click on the help function where a live teacher will come on to help you if you're struggling in a certain area.
So these teachers are part of the program. It's not the teachers in the district where you live. This is like the homeschool program.
Online school, online learning, homeschool programs, right? And they actually send emails to the students of, when they pass, they provide certificates. Some of the schools you have to look at to see if they're accredited or non-accredited. Ideally, you would want a child to go to an online school that is accredited. So this way it flows better, on their transcript and applications into college. They, as a homeschool student, I believe after grade 4 and every other year after, they will be required to take state exams. Then you would just apply to whatever school is in your district to sit for that state exam. And then yeah, you
So
can
meaning the school in that district, they actually physically go in to do the state exam.
correct.
And you know what's so good about the homeschooling? It's not 20 kids in one classroom. It's your child or your children sitting there and not being distracted and just learning what they have to learn. And I think they learn kind of better because the focus is on them.
Exactly. And that's the beauty about it, because you can't escape it. It's a computer sitting right in front of you, and then they're going to quiz you. And then the mom or parent can, hear what they're learning. They can hear, what they're clicking on. You can go into the app. There's apps on your phone for teacher, parent, teacher apps where you can see everything they've learned for the day, how many they got wrong, how many they got right, what's their GPA. You can check on all these things and say, oh, okay, well, what did you learn in this subject today? Or what did you, even if you're not standing by the computer, you can quickly go on and see all the subjects that they learned for that day, and you can question them so they know that you're involved in, their learning for their day and in their education development. So it's not just, oh, we go on a computer, forget about it. You can certainly check up on them.
And then what about, like, for instance, like giving essays and papers and all that stuff?
Right. So some schools, they do require, and you have to look at the school that works best for you. Now, you can, as a parent, buy certain workbooks. There's a lot of organizations that offer different workbooks per grade. And then you can give your child extra work with because a lot of online schools, some of them, they may not have homework. So you can, provide that if you would like your kid to have extra progress on areas, especially that they might have triggered a recovery lesson. So you can provide those workbooks for them, and, reading comprehension, or you can always supplement additional work for your child. But there are schools that also send you workbooks and send you material that can supplement and allow them to have a mixed blend of virtual as well as some traditional handwriting, book writing, and so forth with the homework assignments. So you can have a mixed blend, depends on what works for you. I always say that in the future, we probably won't even be writing. You can even sign your name with the electric signature.
With a document. Yeah, I know.
I mean, it'd probably be less writing in the future, but it's still good to know, and it's still good to know cursive. So these are all the things that you, as a parent, even though it is an online virtual school, you can still supplement and add in, even if you might like the online school, but you feel like they do need a little bit more workbook, hands-on, tradition like we learn, you can add that into the curriculum yourself. And that's the beautiful thing about homeschooling, because you have the ability to do what you feel you think your kids should learn, or not. You
have more control over your kid.
You have more.
But let me ask you a question. How do you know if your kid is right for homeschooling? And then that's part one. Part two is, you have to, as a parent, you have to be home, or is it a village of, like, maybe they'll go to grandma the next day? Like, how does that work? You know what I mean?
Right.
The two parts.
Right. So with homeschooling, I think you have to try it out for your child. And, and I think that's going to come out of the parent and the child. Most children that have some concerns about school, and you may hear them every day, I don't like it, or I don't want to go to school, or whatever the case may be, whatever concerns. And you know what? Let's try homeschool. Let's see if this is going to work out for you. And then you just have to try it out. You can de-enroll them and put them back in the next year. And, they'll ask you, they'll say, okay, well, what level is your kid on? What are they learning? And then they'll put them back in the next grade when you return. And if they're not at that level, then yeah, there may be some issues, but they'll push them to the next level if you need to take them out and put them back in. And, assume that they've learned all of what they need to, because you have to send, for most states, you do have to send in some kind of information about the standards of the curriculum that you have met. You can add in everything else that you would like your kid to learn, but you do have to at least meet the standards. So they know that you have submitted all of that information for your child. So they'll pass them to the next grade if they don't like it, but you do have to try it out. Now with the village, I would say that, I would say that you would need to determine how the schedule will work out for you. Because if you have a 9 to 5 job and you don't have anyone to stay at home with you, you have to see a grandma, auntie that could, watch the child for a few hours, and then while they're homeschooling. And a lot of people say, oh, homeschooling, because they think they have to do it. No, there's so
That's
many
what I thought. I
ways.
thought I had to do it.
No,
The
there's
responsibility is on me.
Not at all. They make it so user friendly and easy that with these online schools, you just have to log in with your name, and then the teacher, hello, students. Welcome. Today we're going to learn about the life cycle of frogs, or whatever the case may be. So they give you all of that good energy that your child needs on a day-to-day basis. You take out the element of, what am I going to face today when I send them to school? What story they're going to come home? You take out all of that kind of. And then you do want to add in the socialization, because I know that's a big piece that people
yeah, because if they're home by themselves, I don't know if they have a sibling or not.
Right.
What happens to the social aspect that school provides for kids who actually go to school, like the social life, the friends, the activities in school, like baseball, basketball,
right.
Music classes, dance, whatever. What do you do, or what do a parent do to compensate that loss?
Right. And that's a very important question. A lot of people ask that question. You have to add in those social activities. It's a must. So whether it be Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, whether it be an after school program after they finish their online curriculum at home, you have to get them out into social activities, whatever their interests are, whether it be dance, whether it be acting, whether it be basketball, whether it be soccer, whatever it is. You should look for some team sports. You can look for individuals as well if they have an interest, but look for team environments as they're developing a music class. And these things are required too. On your reporting, it's going to require a PE. It's going to require an art. It's going to require music. So a lot of these programs are at the after school centers. And, even if it's not to the level that you would like, because maybe the kid has a greater interest in one of those areas, you have to then go out and find those areas and see where that kid can go to continue on that journey. But you have a lot of time. You have a lot more time to do that now, because they're
home, and I think they probably want to do it even more.
You can make your own schedule. Correct. They don't have to do school at 8 o'clock in the morning. They can do school at 10 o'clock. They can do school at 1 o'clock. They can take one day off and then go the next day.
You know what I just thought about? I thought about, you remember we were watching Beyonce and her daughters doing like the dances and stuff? I just thought about it, like she's probably being homeschooled. Because she was in tour with her mom in Europe. Yes. And in my mind, I'm like, isn't she even in school?
Beyonce was homeschooled. Yes, Beyonce was homeschooled, and she's very sociable. So I always tell people that
And then I guess Blue Ivy is like doing this. That's her extracurricular activity.
Correct.
She's learning the dances so she could be with mommy on stage doing it. And she's probably being homeschooled, like as they're preparing for each show, probably in the morning, she's doing homeschool, making sure she's catching up for her grade level. And then her extracurricular activity, social activity, is learning the dance moves, because that could be probably PE too. That could be PE, that could be art. You can check all those boxes out.
Everything.
And
just
then
go to the park. Yeah, even the park, just and the kids don't, they don't ask for much. They're like, I just want to go to the park. There's your PE right there, but yeah, you can create things at home. You can buy doodling books. There's a lot of art things, water paint. You can do things at home, or you can also send your child and arrange for transportation if the village is going to watch the kid. If you work out a schedule from this hour to this hour, maybe you guys are going to take turns. Then maybe at this point you have the school bus or transportation picking them up, sending them to the after school program. Then you pick them up. You'll have to create your own world and way of educating, but there are so many opportunities.
But think about this, Gayna. You have so much control over your kid and what your kid is learning.
Yes, that's the most important part. That is the most, and you can determine when they're gonna learn certain things.
So you don't want them to learn because you feel like they're too young. Because your kid better than any school or any school district or any board of ed would know your kid. And not every kid at that grade level is at the same maturity, is at the same level of just grasping things and understanding things. Because what happens in school is it's like a blanket thing. You're in 4th grade. All right. So every kid in 4th grade knows this. And every kid is an individual. Their maturity is different. Their growth is different. How they learn is definitely different. Like instead of them giving like this one way of learning, sometimes kids are not successful because maybe their mind is not geared to that one way of learning. So when you're homeschooling, you get to find out the best way or the best path of how your kids actually learn. Yes. And you get to you get to like make it fit for them so they can really exceed and do well in school instead of like this whole blanket of 23 kids, 30 kids. Okay, you guys are all going to learn this way. And if you don't learn that way, that means you're not doing well.
Right. And you're not on the same level. Your kid might be on 3rd grade level reading and then might be on 2nd grade level math, but you won't really realize until they say, okay, there's an issue, and this is, we need to hold them back, or, they're struggling here. But what I like about homeschool is you learn these things immediately. So you don't wait all the way till they get through the year and find out that they're struggling, and then they come home and say, I'm doing great. I'm going, or they'll get a report.
Yeah, every day my kids are saying they're doing great. And I got to wait like 3 months to find out
that there was some issues.
There's issues. I'm sitting there with the thing like, so you're going to tell me 3 months later? So now I'm 3 months behind.
Right. And it's harder to catch up because now they're learning new material. So it's immediate correction, and you're learning.
Oh, I like that word. Immediate correction. I like that word. It's like immediate discipline, because kids learn immediate. Like if they do something wrong, if you don't immediately discipline them, you wait like a couple hours later, they'll be like, but what did I do? What's going on? I'll be like, what do you mean? Like they completely forgot what they did. And they're looking at you like, what am I getting punished for? You have to do immediate punishment. Yes. As they are doing it, you gotta go, okay. Because that's how they grasp it. That's how they correlate, like this is because of this immediately. Right.
And you don't have a lot of time through their development. They're on to the next. So the things you instill in them within a certain age, their minds are developing in such a way that you have to set these standards for them at a certain time period so that as they grow older and develop, they have already developed that character that is going to be beneficial for them to survive and flourish, those character traits. So you have more of an oversight, I guess you could say, when you do tap into the homeschooling environment and just, surround them with that village of activities and people. Mm-hmm.
Well, Miss Gayna, I know there's probably a lot of parents out there that's listening to this and saying, oh God, this might be an option for my kids,
Right.
especially how things are going on in education and parents want more control and want more input in how the kids are being taught. But I want to say thank you so much for everyone. I'm Danni Benson, founder of I'm Proud of You Sis. This is my show. I'm giving Gayna her flowers. Thank you so much for coming. And I hope you enjoyed this topic because it's opened my mind. I didn't know. And I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.